Welcome, everyone. We are live.
Hey,
Hi,
hey everybody.
everybody. Listen, if you've never tuned in to a Meaty Monday, I'm glad you're here today, live or replay. It is a phenomenal show. Go ahead and tell us about this carnivore sabotage. Go on, Lord. Wait, let's see. Side effects
Yeah,
of carnivore. Good, bad,
it's
and the
Laura.
ugly.
Yep,
Yes. Come
yep,
on, Laura.
yep. So I'm going to just start by introducing myself. So I'm Laura from Healthy Carnivore, and we're going to go over some things that I think most of us have seen over our time of being on this earth is that we tend to self sabotage ourselves. And we're going to go over some things that we each have done to kind of counteract that so that we don't continue to do those things. And I think it is a constant evolving thing that we have to do to get better at not self-sabotaging ourselves.
Who's that? Come on, Robin.
All right, here I go. My name is Robin Heron, and I am your carnivorous grandma. Welcome back to Meeting Mondays with the Fierce Felines. We're so glad that you are here. As Laura mentioned already, we're going to be talking about carnivore sabotage tonight. So get ready, buckle in your seatbelts, and let's talk all about it. Hey, Rebecca, welcome back.
Hello. I'm so glad to be back. It has been much too long, and it is, but I am in the very busy season of life. So I am
Yeah.
Rebecca from Carnivore Family. And if this is your first time here, I have 8 kids and we run a business that's seasonal, and this is our season, and then school and just all the things. So I have been absent more than I would like, but I'm glad to be here tonight.
That's all right. So listen, we have some news that we can use. Hi, everybody. My name is G Brown, the lifestyle changer. And listen, guys, if you've never heard anything that I said, you want to stick to this show because there's going to be some good information. There's going to be an announcement that you get to hear first. So I'm just saying, you listen. Hey, how you doing, Susan? So I'm just going to say to you, whether we know you or not, I'm telling you, you won't want to miss this. So let's start with segment 1. We're going to identify some sabotage. Go ahead, Robin, tell us about it.
All right, you guys. So I just went and I looked this up. I wanted to kind of get uh, my head around what does it mean to sabotage. So as Laura mentioned, we're talking about self-sabotage. Hey, Laura. And so I just looked this up, and I kind of want to give you just a little bit of what this carnivore sabotage means, not only from a sabotage perspective, but some of the things that you may be seeing or experiencing that are outside of yourself. So carnivore sabotage refers to the actions taken to intentionally disrupt or undermine the efforts, activities, or infrastructure. Oh, that's not the right one. Sorry about that. It refers to, in the context of human dietary patterns, it involves deliberate actions, so deliberate actions or strategies aimed at disrupting or undermining the carnivore diet. So we know that the carnivore diet is primarily meat-based eating, right? So several things that we could be seeing or may be seeing in the community are like misinformation. And I think we all experience this when you hear things like human beings need fiber. You need to be worried about your cholesterol level. If you eat too much meat, you're going to have a heart attack. These are things that just are misinformation. And this information has just been out there around, like the whole margarine is better than butter. All those kinds of things are misinformation that even to say like cow farts cause global warming. This is misinformation, right? So this is like misinformation campaigns. My personal belief is that a lot of it is intentional to keep us from eating meat or meat-based products. So information campaigns are spreading false or misleading information about the health risks or environmental impact of a carnivore diet to discourage people from eating or adopting a carnivore way of eating. If you talk to various people, I know I will kind of always reference this time when my mom went to her doctor and the doctor told her, she said, I'm on a carnivore diet, and the doctor told her, you cannot do that. You have to have fiber, and you need to have fruit and vegetables every day. And, I don't know if she's doing on a campaign, but basically she's misinformed. So another thing is like legislative action. So implementing policies or laws that restrict access to meat or animal products. So I heard in New Jersey where they actually implemented a law where you could not eat meat on certain days. And I actually think I heard that from like Dr. Tony Hampton. That is, legislative action that, restricts access to meat or animal products. So like restaurants probably not serve meat on Fridays and things like that. Higher taxes on meat, stricter regulations on meat productions, or bans on certain types of animal products. I haven't really seen this yet in my area, but I did hear about this law in New Jersey where you can not eat meat on certain days, or they don't want you to eat meat on certain days. So then you have like social pressure. So using social influence to discourage the carnivore diet. So of course, we all see this out here. There is a really strong push for vegan and vegetarian diets. And so in your socials, you may see lots of commentary, lots of people talking about vegan diets, talking about how bad meat is for your health and those kinds of things. So those social pressures. And then, of course, just the social pressure of your family and friends and your community that you're with all the time. If you're the only one that's on carnivore, people are still looking at you like you got two heads. Like you got to be killing yourself by eating all of this meat. I was sitting at the table yesterday for our holiday celebration, and nobody really said anything. People don't really say too much to me, but we had a conversation about, eating butter with meat. Because I was eating my steak and I was eating a bunch of butter with it. And, it's unusual. There's a social pressure there. Everybody's having vegetables and everybody's having fruit. They've got the all the things around that, normally I would have been eating. And of course, as we're entering this next set of holidays, it's challenging, and definitely around fruit and stuff like that. When the fruit comes in season and it's so good and you remember what it tasted like, those things can put pressure on you socially to want to partake in that kind of thing. So, and then I want to just mention health advocacy. So encouraging health professionals to advise against the carnivore diet by highlighting potential health risks or promoting alternative dietary patterns perceived to be healthier. So I do see this, as I mentioned, with my mom, and her doctor telling her that you just cannot eat a meat-based way of eating. It's not going to be good for your health, basically. And so our health advocates, the people who are supposed to advocate for us, are not on board with the carnivore way of eating. So even if you're talking to somebody about carnivore, I was talking to a friend of mine who was considering trying it. I think, she talked herself out of it, but, just that mindset of it's not good for me to eat all this meat. It's not good for me to have all this protein. And then, of course, there's self-sabotage. So that is, I know that that I'm on a slippery slope. I'm going to give you guys an example. I know that I'm on a slippery slope. G probably knows what I'm talking about. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and ski on off of that slope because I just, I feel like I can do it this time. I'm good. I can do it this time. So I was telling my friends that I actually started implementing some sweeteners. I had implemented back in decaf coffee, and then I started implementing back in sweeteners. So if you guys remember when I first started my channel way back when, last summer, I was doing liquid Splenda in my coffee. And I always use that. I was using like 3 drops at that time. So I started using this collagen. It's called Perfect Keto. It's a strawberry collagen. I've had it and I'm like, I don't want this stuff to go to waste. It's gonna go bad and blah blah blah. The excuses that I made in my own head about why I needed to use this collagen because it was gonna go bad, right? So I started putting that in. The next thing you know, I'm putting a drop of Splenda. The Splenda tastes super sweet, so sweet. And I know like, okay, you're on a slippery slope here. You probably maybe should just like not do this. But I did it anyway. So for about a week, I was putting a little bit of Splenda. Finally, I realized by the end of the week that, okay, it's time for me to either add another drop of Splenda because I can hardly taste the sweetness, or I'm going to have to cut the Splenda out altogether. So I did end up deciding to cut it out altogether. I also decided that I'm not going to drink the decaf coffee anymore because coffee is good when it's sweet and creamy and delicious and, all of the things. But when you're just drinking a cup of coffee with iodine and plain collagen, it does not taste that good. It doesn't give you that same feeling. So that self-sabotage, I already knew that the more sweet that you have, the more sweet that you're going to want. And I did a little experiment. That's what I'm going to call it. I jumped off the cliff and said, I'm just going to go ahead and have a little bit. And then I realized, okay, it's getting less and less sweet as the days go by. So, so those kinds of things will come up and, you have to make a decision. What are you going to do? Are you going to jump off the cliff? Are you going to ski off, or are you going to like stop yourself before you go too far? So that is my topic. Just kind of discussing what is carnivore sabotage. All right. I think I'm going to, who am I going to next?
Rebecca.
That's me.
Hey, Rebecca.
Hello. Hey. All right. So my portion is about the psychological triggers that lead to sabotage. So I feel like this is highly relatable for women, for most women. Men struggle with this too, but women, I don't know. There's something about emotional eating and food triggers that are just very. I think it's part of it is it's almost like it's propagated in our culture. Like how many movies have you seen with a woman eating ice cream because she's sad? And so it very much normalizes the idea of soothing with food, that food is an emotional placating tool. And so we all grow up with that idea, and it's normalized, and you have your menstrual cycle and you don't feel good, so you eat a bunch of junk food, and then surprisingly our menstrual cycles are more and more terrible year after year. So it kind of all snowballs, because once you start to realize that the food is actually making you feel worse, that it's terrible for our hormones, which is of course going to affect us mentally more and more over the long run. So I think the biggest key to this is knowing yourself and knowing where your lines are, and to not play with them. Like Robin was saying, like, just don't play with fire. So there will be people who can do carnivore and have the special event once a year, and they go and eat this or that, or they're able to mix in a little bit of whatever it is that they don't want to leave out. Like it might be avocados is like one of the big, really popular ones that people for some reason don't want to give up, which are, I mean, I love avocados too, but it's we just get like mental attachments to certain things. And you'll see the justification for it too. In the carnivore community, like the advocates for honey is like, that's like a live or die kind of topic in the carnivore community, because yes, it's technically an animal product, but it's sugar. If your body doesn't know that it's made from, it doesn't care where it comes from. It's still sugar. It's a sweet, you're going to taste sweet. It doesn't care that stevia is made from a plant, or where these, that xylitol is made from a plant or anything. It's sweet. And if you are like me, I know that even the tiniest sweet, it's going to trigger sweet cravings. Could be, I could have one blueberry, and then I'm thinking about sweets all day for the rest of the day. And that's very frustrating when I've worked so long to get rid of those sweet cravings. And so knowing yourself, knowing your boundaries. For my husband and I, we have learned that we have to be very strict on this for this reason, because the littlest things trigger those cravings. And we had such unhealthy eating habits and such unhealthy relationships to food that we can't really play around with it. We can't get near that edge, because it will very easily becomes, well, we're going to have this, like my husband talks about the very first year that we did carnivore. So we're almost coming up on 2 years. So we'd been doing it for like 4 or 5 months, and his mom came to visit, and they're Mexican. And so we always get tacos. That was a big part of our family culture. And his mom came to visit, and we went out and had tacos a couple nights in a row. And it was a month before Louis felt himself again. He was lethargic. He went back to being sleepy all the time. He was feeling just a lot of old symptoms coming back. And that was such a wake-up call to him that he couldn't play around with it. And he wasn't going wild on it. The tacos were corn tortillas, meat and cheese, and that was it. I think might have had guacamole on it, but I'm not even sure if they did that. I think he just went the corn tortillas, meat and cheese. So he wasn't even going crazy, but it was just enough that his body was reacting, and he had experienced enough healing that it was such a noticeable setback. So I think recognizing yourself, where you can and can't play, where you have, and that's going to depend a lot on how terrible your relationship with food has been in the past. If you are very disordered eating, and you used to just eat whatever, and every time you felt like it, you just consumed whatever you desired. I mean, it's changing those habits. I equate it a lot to, if you've known anyone that's given up smoking, they have to change their whole routine. You can't go out and just hang out with the people on the smoke break and talk, because that smell, the habits, the smell, the routine of it, they have to change up everything that they do to be successful. They have to just, not take those breaks, or change the time, change the people they spend time with, because we're such creatures of habit that we have to, really just override those habits. And it takes so much longer to develop new habits than it is to go back to the old ones. So I think that's a big part of it, is just knowing yourself and knowing your boundaries and watching for those. And that might mean that there are people that you can't spend the same kind of time with. Like if you have a friend that was always the one that you would go out and you'd have coffee together, or you would go have dessert, or you'd go eat this specific thing, and you can't go do that with them and not partake of the same way, or it's frustrating, or they're not supportive, and they're like, it's just one, you're just gonna have just one drink, or we're just gonna have this, we're just gonna split a cheesecake, or whatever it is. Like, you have those habits, and if they're going to encourage that, you're gonna have to say, let's do something different, because I don't want to keep having to spend time with you and just fight this desire for something that I know is not going to make me feel good, that I know is going to set me back. And so thinking about that, and that can be really hard. We've been very fortunate with not having people like that. Oh, at this point, I mean, we're like 2 years in, so people have given up for the most part on trying to change what we do with our kids and our family. But there was definitely a phase in there where I would get messages from the kids' friends' parents be like, oh, can they have this, or can they have that, or what about just for this one time? And it was really hard to always be like, no, I'm sorry they can't have oranges. And because I know on paper, you just sound like a nut job when you're like, I'm sorry, my child can't have oranges at your house. you can give them a piece of bacon. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. And, but thankfully, over time, people get used to it if you can stand your ground. And while you're struggling through things, you just might have to take some space if people are not supportive, and that can be very hard. And it's until you get really solid. So that's kind of my suggestion. And it's very individual in that way. So that's my main portion of advice. Should I go to my special announcement? Yeah. All right. So this is the first time I am announcing this online. So I'm very excited to do it here with the felines because they have been super supportive. But part of the reason I have been gone so much.
Okay, hold on. Wait.
What? Am I not doing it right?
Everybody ready? Are you ready? Put "I'm ready" in the comment. Stop feeding the ducks, okay? I'm ready.
Are you ready? All right. I am
ready. All right, ready?
You guys ready?
We're
All right.
ready.
And I'll try to show you too, but I am 20 weeks pregnant. So yeah. So I'm going to have my first carnivore baby.
Yes.
There we go. Oh, let's see if I can get up here and show the belly shots. Are really, it's not going to come in very well.
Y'all heard it here. Hello.
Get way back. There we go. So that's the.
Oh,
Yes. So, guys, we have a carnivore. Look, literally
Carnivore pregnancy. Starting from scratch. And I'm very excited because a couple of days ago, I had the great pleasure of interviewing Dr. Kiltz. And so I'm going to post it on my channel very soon here because I wanted, if people don't know him, he's an OBGYN and he specializes in infertility. And so I thought, who better to talk to about, is carnivore safe while you're pregnant? Is this an optimal diet, or do you need to go back to eating whatever else? And of course, you guys all know that he's more than supportive of it. He thinks it's an optimal way of eating while pregnant. So yes, we just found out last week that it is a boy. So that's very exciting. So that will give our family 6 girls and 3 boys. Yes.
oh
So my third boy. It was very exciting.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I'm going to, of course, continue to be a part of this as much as I can, but all the ladies know I can only do so much.
Y'all,
so.
she's trying to bet she can. Yes,
but I will definitely pop back in as we go along, and for sure, when the baby comes, I'll make sure everyone gets to see that because it'll be so exciting. So
now, I don't know how I'm going to follow that. Here, my little piece. No, guys, listen. Look, she says that her 5th baby. What I love the most. First, let me say this. Today is not Happy Memorial Day because we understand that people in the service gave their lives in uniform for us. And we here, our fierce felines, we want to acknowledge and say thank you because we have the freedom to come forth in what it is that we're doing. So our hats off to you. If you've lost someone or anything fighting for this country, we extend our gratitude for their service. So wanted to kind of keep that one out there. Okay, good. Look, all right. So for me, so I had that down, and a sabotage for me is a lot of things I don't have to deal with because I'm blessed enough to have a partner that's on the carnivore as well. And another, wait a minute, let me hold on, because I get it real big now. And I would like to say that yesterday it was my 1-year anniversary. Well,
Congratulations!
1 year eating this way, 1 year doing my life this way. 1 year ago, my life, no, Okay, a year ago yesterday, well, a year and 3 days ago, this was me. Look, y'all, I was vegan, and I'm looking at him like, wow. I'm still doing my thank you. I'm still doing my thing over here, but I got on board, guys. And when I say to you, my life has not been the same. So, you have some people, of course, I share this. We come on here every Monday and I share this to social media. And just as sure as I go over there, I see your stories. Pray for me. This, you know, right before surgery, or you have some more symptoms, or you're going to the Mayo Clinic. There are different things that we are doing all the time. And I kind of sit and it's like, oh my God, if you just would try this. Yeah. I mean, I'm saying that this now has just become so life changing for so many people. And so thank you everybody for my Carniversary. And I don't understand it, but I always try to put myself in the other person's shoes. How many times I've sat and watched something, you're not ready. You're not. And but I'm saying I haven't exercised. I haven't done any of those things. I've just changed what I'm eating. Uh, okay, I want to put that. I'm sorry. Well, my thing ain't working. Okay, I have a question. Since starting this carnivore journey, I have yet to be able to give up my artificial sweetener for tea. Am I the only one who loved the diet drinks? Congrats to you. Okay, so first of all, I didn't do sodas, so I haven't had a soda in my body. Oh, well over 10 years. So that is not a that's not something that I've dealt with. And the sweeteners, I really didn't. I don't know. Maybe it's me. I find that if I eat processed food, what am I talking about? Bologna, hot dogs, potted meat, bacon, especially those. Then when I go, if I have a cup of coffee, it's decaf. And I would say over the last past year, I've probably had 14 coffees. All right. Or well, let's just say 20, just in case, so it doesn't seem so crazy. And the thing is that I have it without sugar or any sweetener by the time. And I was listening to Robin, and I'm like, but Robin, that's how I drink mine. Stop that. The collagen that I get, the same brand that you do, the iodine, same brand, and then I put in a hint of uh, heavy cream. That's it. And I add butter to it, and I add some salt. But I add the salt in the grounds before I even make it. And I sit there, and I guess because I don't have that sweet tooth, that's actually enough for me. But because I will fry a hot dog, I will fry some bologna. Oh my God, put a little mustard on it. When I venture that way, then I can see things wanting to possibly add some sweeteners or something like that. But I'll say this, and I'll say this 100 times. Food has not been my pitfall. It's not. I didn't stick with lion. Okay. Maybe if I was around, if I don't know. I didn't, because I like lamb. I like deer. I don't know about bison and some of that other stuff because it's so lean when I see it. I've tried to do more fat. Let me tell you, I interviewed with Dr. Bright, and when she said a half to three-fourths stick of butter a day, now that lets me know, right? and everybody needs a teaspoon, not tablespoon, a teaspoon of salt. So when I sprinkle some salt over my food, knowing that it all didn't land on there, I could not I could not really utilize that, count all of that. So that's what helps for me. And if I don't do it, then I know that I might have some issues. And Laura, I'm sorry, I got to swing left real quick, throw all this stuff in because I need to talk about your tooth powder and that deodorant. Okay. So my story is I can take a shower every night or a bath, don't matter, because I cannot be out and about and put that in my sheets. But here's the thing: if I don't put on deodorant in the morning when I wake up, it's like I was in there boxing with a kangaroo, right? And you're looking around like somebody done broke in the house, because I know that can't be me smelling like that. Now, Carnivore has helped with that just a little. But baby, Laura makes a deodorant, a natural deodorant. And have you made that on your channel yet?
I'm not sure if I think I did, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I've made most of them.
I have put that deodorant on. Baby. You better go to her website. That's all I can say. And hopefully she'll share the concoction with you. That has been wonderful. And I know that it comes from like the foods and stuff. As you get clean, then your body, because that's one of the things that Rhonda talks about, is that when she got down from the carnivore diet, she don't even wear deodorant anymore. Now, when I was raw vegan, I didn't need deodorant, and my poop didn't stink. I knew if something it got on my food, I am not kidding. That's the first time in my life you go to the bathroom and it's like it didn't smell. But if something was in there, a dressing, a oil, a peanut, just there you go. It's like, oop, I must have ate something that wasn't right. So I want to say that I see people talk about, and the tooth powder, I've been working that around as well. Those are, and that chapstick. So those three right there. Now the soap, I went right through it. So I don't know what's going on for me. But all right, well, we got that tornado thing. When your loved one, now I'm gonna get back to the sabotage. When your loved one that you are with, because this is something that a lot of people share with me, they'll tell me that girl, I can't believe he done went to Krispy Kreme, and I'm trying. Or your spouse is supposed, now this is not Frederick that I'm talking about. All right. So don't, it's not. He doesn't do that. He loves my results. He loves what I do. And so if I was going to throw him under the bus, I would just throw him by saying, now when he leaves and he go to Atlanta without me, y'all see that? That's all I'm going to say on that one. Yeah, it is. Okay, so, but I don't think he's in here yet. Anyway, but I mean, I love that. But there are some ways that we can sabotage ourselves, and I'm going to pass this over to Laura, who has waited.
I want to just chime in on this sweetener topic. There was a question about, dealing with, did anybody deal with these diet drinks and sweetened drinks?
Well, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
That can't be for me.
Yes.
I was going to say
it's for me.
Yeah, it wasn't so much a personal, but I was using some like things with stevia and sweeteners and things like that, because I had been on the natural path. But I remember watching an interview with Kelly Hogan when she first kind of came onto the scene, and she's been carnivore for like 20 years or something. And she said that the first 3 years she continued to drink Diet Coke every day. She was a teacher, and it was just part of her routine. And she will tell you that she never fully got rid of her sweet cravings until she gave it up, because it's one of those things that, for one, you can look at, they're really terrible for you, especially the artificial sweeteners. They're really, really terrible for you. There's no getting around that.
Mhm.
But you're also never going to fully kick those sweet cravings until you stop. And so you just have to take that in mind. If this is like you're starting out and this is your one vice and you're not ready to give everything up, I'm all about do it in the stages if that's what you need to do.
Find what
I'm not
works
going
for
to
you.
shame anyone for holding on to something. Exactly.
Mm-mm.
But I would really keep it in the back of your mind that your goal is to get to a place where you can give them up, because that's it, there's no value to them for sure.
I'm sorry.
So that's my thoughts.
Yeah, I did. I wanted to say for me, sodas was not an issue, and that coffee I can take or leave. I think in my mindset, I understand that this is my journey. All right, so I'm not no, I can only speak for me, and I know that just this one time. Do you know how many times you done got in trouble with just this one time? Some of y'all had babies with just this one time.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just talk about just this one time. No, that one time. Yes, it took it. Look, it took Rebecca one time. But I'm, guys, I'm just saying that. But here's the thing. I love for the carnivore community that we don't come hard on anyone. If I turn
Mhm.
around now, okay, finish the sentence, G. I don't want to come down hard on anyone because this is your walk, this is your journey.
Yes.
The flip side, look, the B side to that 45 is, but then I can't say you can complain because that's your life if that's what you want to do. But when things are, you can't say, oh, why didn't this clear up? Or why is this we can't do that behind that, because that thing that you're still holding on to, if you haven't gone through and not had it, where you can decide if that affects you or not. So now I was a big wine drinker. I left, and it was the sweet wine. So I did leave that. But when I travel, like, I probably won't have anything on this trip, but when I'm on that cruise ship, yeah. So I will try different drinks, stuff like that, but nothing that is like super, super sweet. So I think this last cruise that I was on, I probably had 2 drinks over the entire cruise. And for me, baby, that is real good, real good. Okay, Laura, I'm done now. Your turn.
Okay. So what I'm going to go over are ways that you can avoid sabotage. So for the first one, though, really, I believe that it has to come down to your will of what you're willing to put up with. And you don't have to be mean, but you also do have the right to stand up for what you're doing for your health. I would say that most people that give you grief when you're eating this way never really made any comments or wanted you to get healthy when you were sickly, when you were eating the standard American diet and you had, a suitcase full of medications. So I do think that you have to stand up for yourself and you have to be not forceful, but assertive that this is what you're going to do. And I think that will help sabotage that comes from the outside people. But on yourself, which is something I have done many, many times over the years, 28 with keto and going to be 5 with carnivore, where I would get really close to a goal. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, but I'm going to eat a whole bag of pork rinds, or, oh, I'm going to go do this. Yes, now pork rinds are still carnivore, but they do cause me inflammation. And sure enough, there would go my goal. And it was just self sabotage. And then I think, and this may be for men too, I can only speak from a woman's perspective, is then we tend to um, turn in on ourselves of, okay, now I'm going to go fast. Now I'm going to do this to myself. And it's kind of like make ourselves pay for something we did. And at least that's something I did a lot of, where I kind of gotten past that, where I really just eat the food that I know I can eat, which is, it is lying. You know, once in a while I can do a couple eggs. I did 3 egg yolks and 1 egg white. Once in a blue moon, I'll throw that in there. But that doesn't sabotage me. But I think as long as you can kind of stick to your guns and people get used to it, as Rebecca said, you know, her and Louie and the family, they've been doing it, you know, the kids about a year and a half, I think, close to that. And then them
Almost 2
almost
years.
2 years. Yeah. And so, you know, people are getting used to that. So I think that helps. Another thing that can help you from getting sabotaged will be planning. And I'm a prepper planner. So I love to do things ahead of time. So things that I do when I'm not making my products, this whole weekend, I was making tons of products because I have 9 bags sitting on my dining room table that are ready to be mailed out in the morning. Part of that's because of the holiday. But anyway, on other free time that I do have, because I have no children living at home anymore. So I don't know how people do a lot of this when they have a lot of children. God bless you, because I don't know how you do it. But I prep ahead of time. So on the weekends, I will make up, like when I used to eat a lot of eggs, I would make up a ton of hard boiled eggs ahead of time. I'd fry up bacon, um, pork belly bites, different things like that. I don't do that anymore because those things cause me inflammation. But I do cook up lots of hamburger. You can do loose hamburger patties. You could have all beef hot dogs that you have ready to go. Having things in the refrigerator that are just like grab and go. As Kelly Hogan says, if you're eating or you think you're hungry, if you're hungry enough to go in and grab a cold hamburger and eat it, then you're probably hungry, because a lot of us do mindless eating. So I always have stuff available like that. If you are, and that's because I hate to feel hungry. I'm sure most of us, that's not something I enjoy. So I tend to stay full a lot. And I do that mostly because I do a lot of ribeye fat. I eat ribeye fat every single day. And until the elites take that away from me, I'm eating it every single day. And I will go down kicking and screaming. So another thing is that for those of you who are able to eat some of these other items that are carnivore, is, you know, making up the hard boiled eggs, making up bacon, the ribeye fat bites. You can do steak bites. I think a lot of you guys make the steak bites. Those are something easy. You could throw those in a baggie and you don't have to rewarm those. And I'm telling you right now, you're not going to die if you have them at your workplace sitting on your desk for 4 or 5 hours. I've done it for, I don't know, 2 years now. I've never gotten sick from it. Um, that includes the fat and like the meat. I'll put it in something and I'll just set it on my desk. And when I get done seeing patients and I get back to the office, I just eat it the way it is and add some salt to it, of course. Another thing is if you're able to eat cheese, you know, there's different forms of like string cheese, or you could get block cheese and just have it cut up in little bite-size pieces if you're able to do that. So that's some of the things that I would do that would help you be prepared at all times, so that if you do, like say your kids have a ball game and you're like, oh crap, I didn't make anything, you know, you can have some of this stuff in the fridge. You can just throw it in your bag, jump in the vehicle, go to the game, and you're good to go. Same as if you're going to somebody's house for dinner. I'm not against making my steak, putting it in my little glass bowl and taking it with me to places. Nobody even bats an eyelash at me anymore because I've done that so many times that they just know. Or a lot of them will have something that is carnivore that hasn't been cooked with seed oils. So either way is fine. Another thing that I do that helps me feel better so that I don't get sabotaged, I do use supplements, and I don't use a lot of supplements, and I use less than I did even 3 months ago. I used to take a lot of the Redmond's pink salt. I did Soleil water every day. I put salt in one of like my little containers that I take, and I drink 5 of those a day. And I would put salt in there. I would salt my food. If I was feeling a little slow, a little lethargic, I'd put some salt under my tongue. And just recently, I was like, I did that, and I was like, it tasted off to me, and I was like, oh, I probably don't need that much salt if it's not making me feel, better like it did. And so I've actually not doing the Soleil water anymore. But I do think it was something that I needed for that amount of time. I'm not to the chafy level. I still do salt my steak and my fat bites, and I don't see myself stopping that unless it gets to where it doesn't taste good. But as of right now, it still tastes good, so I'm going to do that. But some of these supplements I personally use. Not saying you need to do this. We're not doctors, thank God. So I take Lugol's, and I do the 2% iodine, and I do anywhere between 2 to 5 drops a day. Now, I will tell you, I usually only do this Monday through Friday because on the weekends I just forget. I'm busy doing other stuff and I just don't do it. It isn't part of my routine on the weekends. Um, the other thing is I do take K2D3, and I have been taking that for over a decade. And I watched a YouTube video yesterday that this person was showing another video on their phone and didn't show who the person was, didn't show any kind of information about the background of it, but was saying how K2 or D3 was dangerous to take and blah, blah, blah. Like I said, you have to do what you want to do for your own body. But I will tell you that I was able to reverse osteoporosis in a year and a half by switching and doing the K2D3 because the K2 helps move calcium out of the joints and out of the blood vessels where it's not supposed to be, and helps move it into the bone matrix, where the D then helps work with that and bring all the other elements, not just calcium, to make the bone stronger, including your teeth. As long as you still have a root, they're still alive and they still grow and they can heal. Even cavities can heal. So that's
Laura,
yeah.
I was going to say, just real quick, since you're talking about K2, Shayla asked a question earlier about, says that I'll just read it. She said, must have half an avocado a day. My potassium gets too low. Should I stop avocado and take potassium supplements instead? And if so, what kind to do? So you've kind of touched on that, but just knowing that question, did you want to give her a little more info?
Yeah, because I did, and I do still take the potassium. I take potassium 99 milligrams every single night. I also take the magnesium glycinate every single night. And I think that's 245 milligrams, something like that. I do that because of the amount of working out that I do. Not that that's the only reason to do it, but I do sweat a lot when I work out. Today, we cut down a tree in the backyard. And it was pretty hot outside. So I still do supplement with those two. And if that's the one thing that's keeping you from being able to go completely carnivore, I say try it. The Now brand is the one that I use, and I like their ingredients. I like the people, that are behind that product, I should say.
There's another question real quick, Laura. Kat wants to know, do you take the D3K2 every day?
Every single day, even the days that I'm out in the sun. And the reason I do that, I know there's a thought process that, as long as you're out getting enough sun, it's no big deal. But I'm 53. And so the older we get, the less that your skin is able to absorb the D from the sun. And so I'm pale, I'm see-through, So I'm going to take that. And actually people of color, they actually even have a harder time getting vitamin D from the sun. They don't convert it. So I really recommend it for just about everybody. Now, somebody that's really young and Kent, is that Kent Carnivore that asked the question?
No,
It's Cat Diamond.
no, that was Cat
Okay.
Diamond.
Kent. So, it also depends on your age, but I can tell you, that I really think it's a good product. I think you need it. I think when you see the number of women who we have now caught up with men when it comes to heart attacks and strokes, and knowing that what's inside those arteries is calcium, and look at all the people who have been told to take calcium their whole lives. Drinking milk, if you're able to drink milk and get the calcium the natural way, is one thing, but taking that form of calcium that they have made is not the same as what's in the milk. And so it tends to go to the arteries, goes to joints, things like that. So I want to move those things out. Now I have a cardiac calcium score that I had that was over 300. I think it was 368 or 378. That would have been almost 6 years ago. And then I had one done 2.5, 3 years ago. I was 50 or 51, and it was 0. And so truly that was after being carnivore for 2.5 years or something. So something helped move that calcium out of those areas. And a lot of doctors used to say you can't reverse your CAC score. And I'm here to tell you, I'm proof you absolutely can. So
Answer this one as well, Laura. Lisa wants to know, how do you use your tooth powder?
So with my tooth powder, like I have the containers that I send out are like 2-inch, so basically I wet the toothbrush, I knock the water off of it, I put the bristles down into the powder, kind of mush it around a little bit, then I stick it in my mouth, put the lid on, or you'll end up with it all over your bathroom floor. And yes, I have done that. And then it looks like a bad 1980s party. That's all I'm going to say about that. And then I just sit there and I brush my teeth for 1 to 2 minutes. Even if you have braces, you can go up above, down below, and like where your bite plate is, basically, of your teeth. And then when I'm done doing that, I rinse the toothbrush out, but I leave that water and tooth powder in my mouth. And then I will walk around the house and swish and get that in between my teeth. If you have braces, then you would use a water pick at that point to kind of get it mushed through everywhere and get it rinsed out. I don't swallow that. I'm not sure whether you can or not. I just choose not to. But that's how I use the tooth powder. Let's see.
It's
One more
pill.
question.
Okay.
No, that part I know. As a matter of fact, if you go on her, because she sent me the link as well. So yeah, it's on, not for the tooth powder. We back to the D3K2. You sent the link, but she can have it in the show notes, a link to the D3K2. And I think for a lot of us, it's in our look. She hooked us up with all of it, and we're pretty much taking it.
Yeah, and actually, if they go to my website, it's on there, like my Amazon things or whatever.
There you go.
Yep, I have all of my
So
links.
Let me put that up really quick, you guys. In her website, this is the website one. Right there, russellbrands.square.site.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. Yep, I think I already went over that. So anyway, I just think the moral of the story is self-sabotage is something you have to work on the inside. You have to figure out why you're doing that. A lot of times, I think I've seen people in relationships that are in unhealthy relationships, and they tend to gain a lot of weight and stay very heavy. I have a family member that does that, and that's because it's not a good relationship. It's not a healthy relationship. And so they kind of, I don't know if that's for protection. I'm not sure what that mindset is, but that's what I've seen. And they have no want to change either one of those things. So that's the hard part about this. When you know better, but you just can't, you kind of offer, and this person has been in my life since the day I was born and has seen me through my journey and knows exactly. And the statement I get is, yep, carnivore only works for you, is exactly what I get told. And I'm like, okay, as you're looking at the treats on the table, it's like, okay, so.
So now that you're on treats on the table, Jasmine wants to know what kind of hobbies or extra things do we do to, let's do it like this. Extra things that we do to help with boredom eating. That's a really good question because that, she says, is her weakness. I
Mhm.
personally don't eat. Well, she's showing you that she crochets. For me, I don't get guilty of eating meat. I don't. If I want, if I want a steak at midnight, I'll just get a steak at midnight. Give me some fat. I mean, I really, really don't. So now, what kind of things that do I do? Well, this time of year, I'm super proud that I redid my front area. We pressure washed the outside of the house. We're waiting on the contraption to pressure wash out there. It's like you at this point now get out and enjoy life.
Go for a
That's
walk.
what you need. Yeah, you can go for a walk. You can get a blanket, take it outside, and rub your feet, sit down. There are things that we can do that's going to assist you and your body, meaning a walk you can turn around and do. You can walk and meditate. Just put your stuff on. Start writing that book that you always wanted to do, a children's book if that's what you want to do. If you are a songwriter, start writing some lyrics. Find what your passion is. Like Laura, she'll crochet. Somebody else, it might be sewing. Me is dyeing my hair. Who else? No, I'm just all right. What you guys? What are some of the things? And we got a couple of other things, but what are some things? Are you adding on to
I
what?
eat. I eat until I'm full and satiated.
Yep.
And then I'm not hungry
lot.
enough to boredom eat. I
Yes,
eat
that's a
enough
great
food
habit.
and then I don't feel hungry for, snacking, mouth snacking. So
One more thing I want to report to you, Laura, is I started having what I deem that restless leg at night. And then I did something different because you got me doing this too. I thought back on my how much salt had I taken in. So now I got a thing of Celtic salt. This ain't it. On the side of my bed. I'm like, I'm not walking in that kitchen. So I just keep some on the side of the bed. I've been putting it
Yep.
under my tongue. And I'm like, it went away.
Yep.
So YouTube
Mhm.
carnivore channels. I know that's right. All right, here is
Yes.
another one wanting to know. Uh, I know for me with Element, I'm one of the few on the panel where I do have the sweet element, but
Mm.
it takes me forever to get through one of them because I make a 30 ounce of one sweet one, and then I just take some of it and pour it in here, and then I add water to it. So it takes me a while to finish drink. It just, you know how you have a drink and you drank all of it, but then you have the ice in there and you come back and it's nice and cold and you drink it and it's just a hint of, that's what that's how
Mhm.
I use that, because I feel I would go down a slippery slope if I did that. What about you
Mhm.
ladies?
Same. I couldn't have the sweetened element. It would make me crave sweets. So I've never tried
Yeah.
element, but I know. I make my own electrolytes from scratch for what we don't drink it every day, but just when we need it, it's there. But the sweetener it's just it has to be a hard line for me.
Yep.
Okay,
Me
and
too.
then this one right here, come on, the Wanderer loves Robin, and she's going to try to start tomorrow. So
Yes.
Hey.
okay, but now I
I
want
got
you
this.
to plan today because you don't have to try. Try leaves room for failure. As
Mhm.
Nike say,
Mhm.
just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
You
So,
got this.
yep, you
Mhm.
do. You have that. So we didn't took care of those, and now we're going to turn this over to
News you can use.
that's it.
Mhm.
Yes. All right. Let's present it.
That gets in our fourth person. Yeah. Now you're setting it up, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
There we go.
ma'am.
Hello, I'm Rhonda at Carnivore Leo, bringing you news you can use from the community. In today's segment, we will focus on types of sabotage within the carnivore community. It was a challenge for me to find information on this topic because personally, I find the carnivore community very friendly and supportive. However, I was able to locate a video from carnivore YouTuber Anthony Stein at Practical Carnivore, who addressed elitism and sabotage in the carnivore world. And here's what he had to say.
One of the things that really annoys me that I see either in carnivore circles or people who, for whatever reason, really, really object to the carnivore diet is this sort of weird elitism, sort of looking down your nose at people. And it shows up in two forms. The first is this idea that if you're a true carnivore, you should only be eating ribeyes, New York strip steaks, and the really expensive, super fatty cuts that are delicious and decadent, or you're not a true carnivore if you ever eat anything besides beef or lamb, or you're not a true carnivore if you eat a lot of ground beef, or you're not a true carnivore if you don't eat your meat nearly raw. I don't understand this. I mean, yes, look, if you do the like blue rare lion diet, for those who don't know what that is, that's you basically scare your cut of beef with a flame. You know, you get a little bit of brown on the outside, bacteria that naturally shows up on beef, and then you eat it basically raw. There are people who do that. That's fine. You're getting the results you want. Wonderful, right? There are also people who will tell you that you need to go hyper strict for everything. Look, have you noticed that most carnivore influencers want you to go strict? There's a reason for that. And also, most of them will tell you if you're, getting the results you want, then it's fine if you're not going super strict. When they want you to go strict, they want you to eat beef, butter, bacon, eggs, maybe a little fish here and there, and salt. That's about it. And I think most carnivores, when they get to where they want to be on this diet, when they meet their goals, if they're not basically keeping permanent metabolic problems at bay for the rest of their life, you're just trying to lose weight, or you've got a couple of essentially temporary things that you're trying to fix. Once you reach them, and once you get to a new happy place, I think most carnivores are going to start adding back in the complex spices, or they're going to start adding back in the coffee or the dairy or whatever it is that they eat that isn't strict carnivore. Most people, I think, want to find themselves in a relaxed carnivore place. And for whatever reason, that really gets some people mad. But the other thing that really bugs me are people who are not carnivores who find this whole thing kind of nutty. They come in and, compare us to either vegans, whatever, or they compare us, they call it a carnivore diet, a religion. I have a religion. I don't need a second one. I'm not going to make one around food. I do carnivore the way I do, and I am as passionate about it because I was desperate to lose the weight that I had been carrying my whole life. Done the yo-yo dieting, I've done it all. This is the only thing I've ever found that is sustainable, easily sustainable.
My closing thoughts on how to identify and combat community-specific sabotage are there may be a few dogmatic members in the carnivore community who are criticizing others in this space who are not as strict as they think everyone should be. But I feel that most people in this community are welcoming, encouraging, and accepting of people who come to this way of eating, who are using different methods to reach their own optimal health. Each person is different and unique, and diet is not a one-size-fits-all situation. What works for one person may not work for another person. I believe that low carb, keto, lion, and carnivore are all within the proper human diet spectrum. With that said, we shouldn't be putting labels on the way carnivores eat. My advice is if you spot community-specific sabotage, you have the option to report or block the user or hide the user from your channel. This has been news you can use from the carnivore community. Thank you for watching and good night.
Yay!
Yeah.
There we
Mhm.
are. That was another good show. People just love telling. I know that you're doing it wrong. You have to go, and I want to say that all the time. Yeah, I was darn. It has to be your walk. That's what turns a lot of people off, period, over different things you become a part of. And then there's all these things that you change at your pace. I'll say to you, like I've said, hold on. I'll say is I tell my legacies, I say, if you're in the doctor's office and they're telling you something, try this for 30 days. Go strict with it versus 30 days of medicine, and then you just kind of make it on for there. I never had leg or toe cramps in my 81 years. Is that unusual? No.
That's great.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
I always tell people, and my husband as well, that we really feel like the more healing you have to do, the more you will benefit from, at least for a time, going very, very strict. And then you can identify clearly what your triggers are, what bothers your body, and it'll give your body a chance to normalize. And then you can figure out how strict, quote unquote, you need to be to feel your best. And that's going to be different for different people. The more unhealthy your place that you're starting with, the more you've got a million things going on, and your body's going to take a lot more time to sort all of that out. And there are people like Michaela Peterson who, she pretty much eats ruminant meat that is like not aged, and it's so incredibly strict. But if you hear her story, she has been incredibly unhealthy since she was a child, with having joint replacements from arthritis before she was a teenager. That's huge. And so for whatever reason, she's in the place that she's at. Most people are not that sick, but if you're coming to this to fight something very serious, and you are looking for big changes, starting off with the more dialed in you can get, the more benefit you will see early on. If your goals are if you're meeting your goals, and that's including whatever it is, then none of us are going to be mad at you at all. But most of us here, if you're making a channel about carnivore, it is not because this was a mild change in your life. And that's why you see the people with channels advocating for more strict options, because we have all benefited from it to such a great degree. And that, this is not just, I wanted to lose 15 pounds and feel a little bit better about myself. Like, none of us were there. We were all in a very, very different place.
Not at all.
Exactly.
All right, let's wind this thing down. I have I'll start. I have a show tomorrow. For those that don't know, in the mornings, that's not tomorrow. Rewind. Wednesday. Let's jump. Wednesday, I have a show, but I'll be doing that one by myself because they got this thing called Hack Your Health happening this weekend.
So excited.
And my co-host is actually flying out on Wednesday. Frederick and I are flying out Thursday. And so I get an opportunity to hang out with Robin, and I informed her that they have the ice bath and to bring her swimsuit. Oh, it'll get recorded if we decide. It will get recorded, honey. And y'all, Robin is going to be the wonderful first lady, and then had this old hoochie with her making all that noise because it's cold. Lord, I can't wait to see the video myself. But that's what's going on. So we'll be at Hack Your Health this weekend, but there's still some things and stuff that's going on. Who's next? Who want to tell us what's going on?
I could say really quick. I have 5 kids going to visit grandma on Thursday for several weeks. So I'm like,
Oh, no.
Oh, I was gonna say,
I
don't
might
get
actually
pregnant while they gone.
Too late.
too late. Too late.
Those that were not on here earlier, Rebecca, slap them with your belly, girl. Show it
Mhm.
again. Y'all,
Okay.
look.
Let's see,
Those
let's
that
get it.
didn't know,
Get back
check
here and see.
Rebecca out.
There you go.
We got a
There you go.
carnivore baby
That's my carnivore baby.
coming.
Yep. So I've got several. I have 5 videos that have been filmed that just have not been uploaded. So the first one I'm going to do though is my interview with Dr. Kiltz, and we talk a lot about carnivore healthy during pregnancy. How does it affect your fertility and overall health? Because he is a specialist in that area. So I thought he was the perfect person to have that conversation with. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'll go next.
Oh, go ahead.
All right. So for me, I have a couple of videos in the works, but this week I am not going to have a live stream on Saturday unless it's live from Austin, Texas, which is a strong possibility. So we may have something going on over there. We'll just see how it goes. We're going to play it by ear. Super excited to go to Hack Your Health and meet everybody. But I don't have a standard, my normal Saturday 5:30 p.m. live stream. So yes, I will. I'll have lots of footage for you guys and share everything that we're doing while we're there. Been thinking about getting my phone cleaned off so I can make sure I have plenty of room for all the video that I'm gonna take while I'm at Hack Your Health. So, okay, Laura, you can wrap it up.
Friday. So I'll continue to do my shorts. I'm going to be making more product because yesterday I made cinnamon tooth powder, and I know, and it is really good. So it's
Ooh,
almost sold out already. So I'm
okay,
going to
I'm gonna go buy
make
some.
more. It's really good. It's really good. Like I'm going to like when we're done with ours, because I have a big container. When we're done with the one we have in the bathroom, that will be what I'm going to do for quite a while, and then I'll probably switch back. I'll get bored with it, but anyway, so that's what I will be doing. And also, I do have a live tomorrow with one. I'm not sure if it's both of the Carnivore brothers or one of the Carnivore brothers, but just going over some like kidney, really kind of blood pressure type things, and carnivore. You know, him and his brother have been carnivore, and we're trying to do some natural things to help with his blood. So we'll be going over that, and there will be lots of information on that. So if anybody has stubborn high blood pressure, that's a pretty big one. I shared out the other day, Dr. Berg had a thing on about cystic, the kidney disease, and how low carb carnivore diets are shown to reverse those. And I'm very excited about that. I have patients that have that I'm like, I'm going to be showing them that video. So I have shared that. But anyway, so that's what I have. So that's it.
all right. Woo.